It was a mild day today across southern Wisconsin, but it won't be mild by this time tomorrow night. Alert day conditions are on the way for plummeting temperatures, a flash freeze, bitter cold wind chills, and some brief heavy snow. I have all the details on the way.
11 months ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it.
President Donald Trump addresses the nation. His message for the American people nearly a year into his second term. And property taxes are on the rise in the region. How the costs could trickle down to renters. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke. Sarah Carlson is off tonight. It felt warmer out there today for this time of the year, but an alert day is on the way. And Alex, what exactly are we looking at tomorrow?
We're up against some plummeting temperatures, Eric, with alert day conditions taking hold in the late afternoon and in the evening hours. Just look how cold these wind chills are going to be by the time we get to Friday morning. In the minus 15 to minus 20 degree range. That's part of our set of alert day impacts. Snow squalls are expected during the afternoon and evening hours on Thursday. Strong winds, plummeting temperatures, and then bitter cold that you just saw. And that's for Thursday evening through the evening commute going on into Friday morning. We got big changes on the way. It starts off with rain tomorrow morning, changing over, mixing with, and changing over to snow. And in the afternoon, we're going to be tracking snow squalls, which are brief periods of heavy snow that can be quite impactful to travel. They'll sweep through right during the evening commute, and then the snow will end. But then the winds are going to get roaring, bringing in those plummeting temperatures tomorrow night. And with the plummeting temperatures, anything that's wet tomorrow is going to freeze. We're expecting a flash freeze across southern Wisconsin, making for icy conditions. And part of those icy conditions will be during that Thursday evening commute. When I come back in a few minutes, we're going to talk more about those impact of the snow squalls that we are expecting across southern Wisconsin. And what a snow squall is, I'll let you know.
All right, Alex, thank you. Tonight, President Donald Trump addresses the nation to highlight his administration's accomplishments for the year. He also announced a special warrior check for members of the military. CBS News' Erica Brown has more.
President Trump addressed the nation Wednesday night, touting his administration's accomplishments during the first year of his second term.
Good evening, America. 11 months ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it.
And wasted no time placing blame on Democrats and the Biden administration.
Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people. Many who came from prisons and jails.
Now the president says with his policies, immigration and border issues have been resolved.
In a few short months, we went from worst to best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities.
The president also touted tariffs and the U.S. economy that he claims is stronger.
I am bringing those high prices down and bringing them down very fast. And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation.
President Trump's address to the nation comes as concerns about affordability persist. And a new CBS News poll shows only 32% of Americans have a positive view of the condition of the economy. Last week, consumers in Pennsylvania graded the economy under President Trump.
B minus.
Oh, I would give it a D. My grocery bill has definitely doubled, if not more.
Despite concerns, the president insists affordability is improving. And in honor of the nation's founding, the president praised members of the military, announcing warrior dividend payments for service members this holiday season for $1,776. The president also said he will name a new Federal Reserve chair in the new year. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Slenderman attacker Morgan Geyser will not fight the state's attempt to revoke her release privileges. In July, a judge signed off on Geyser's conditional release despite opposition from the State Department of Health Services. Then in November, the 23-year-old cut off her GPS monitor and ran away from her group home in Madison. Police later found and arrested her at a truck stop outside Chicago. Now Geyser's attorney says she will not contest a petition to revoke those release privileges. This clears the way for a judge to send Geyser back to the Winnebago Mental Health Institute. The Madison School District trying to find ways to decrease the amount of seclusion and restraint incidents they have every year. Out of the 506 incidents reported last school year, 156 of them involved students with disabilities. That's about 30%. School board members say this issue isn't unique to Madison schools, and in a perfect world, everyone would be trained to avoid secluding or restraining students.
Problem is
is that we should use seclusion and restraint only when there is no other option. These are still children. These are still individuals who have needs that are different than our needs.
School board members add that it's important to be educated when responding to students with disabilities, which only comes from funding public schools more. A local Jewish organization is reacting after a deadly mass shooting during an Australian Hanukkah celebration and a recent incident on the UW campus. This week, a man entered a Jewish student organization building and gestured as if he had a gun. In light of these incidents, Chabad Madison is taking extra safety steps at this time.
We do have a new budget line item for security. That's part of what it is. You know, it's gonna cost us, but we got to be safe, and people have to feel safe and secure.
According to the Wisconsin Security Network, they've seen a rise in reported anti-Semitic incidents for an 8th year in a row. Many of you probably saw how the Madison school referendum added to the property tax bills of Madison residents this month, but the city of Madison isn't alone. Armand Rahman goes into a new report showing how property taxes statewide saw the largest increase in more than 3 decades, and how that can trickle down to renters as well.
Madison and Fitchburg voters encountered a little sticker shock when they saw their December property tax bills after the MMSD referendum hit. That sticker shock surged across the state as tax levies across all school districts combined rose to more than $6 billion on December bills. The Wisconsin Policy Forum analyzed data from all 421 Wisconsin school districts. They found Madison's property tax hike alone accounted for 17% of the state's total increase, making it the biggest jump in 30 years.
It's the single biggest increase statewide in terms of dollar value, and that's in part because we just have a very big property tax base for our K-12 schools.
That means some Madison homeowners had to fork over an additional $750 to $1,000 in December. But how about owners who rent out their properties?
Who writes the checks? That's the property owner. Who bears the brunt of the tax? That kind of depends on the market.
Tyler Burns is a senior research associate with the Wisconsin Policy Forum.
You know, in some markets, a lot of that tax can get passed on to the renters. They don't necessarily have a lot of choices. Other markets, a little more sensitive to price, not so much of that will get passed on to the renter.
Experts say it's true that a portion of property taxes get passed on to those paying rent, but unlike property taxes, you can't raise the rent mid-lease. But according to the MIT Center for Real Estate, when property taxes go up, rents will go up to absorb 80 to 90% of the change landlords had to pay.
I think one thing that can happen if that's your model for funding schools or local governments is, there's winners and losers.
Reporting in Madison, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
And looking ahead to Election Day, April 7th of the spring, people in Sun Prairie will see a referendum question on their ballots. The city council voted last night to ask voters for a nearly $4 million increase in the yearly tax levy to maintain existing services and programs. It's also asking for funds to hire city staff. The city says in the past decade, the need for essential services like police, fire, and EMS have increased. Now, if approved, the average homeowner there would see a $264 increase in their property tax bill starting in 2026. If you're flying somewhere for the holidays, TSA says plan ahead and pack plenty of patience. Agents suggest if you're bringing presents to put them in gift bags or boxes. That way agents can inspect them without ripping the wrapping paper. Snow globes are popular, but if they're over 3.4 ounces, they are not allowed in your carry-on bags. And you might be surprised how often passengers actually pack their favorite cooking tools.
People actually fly with their own pots and pans frequently so that they can cook at their destination.
This is a prohibited item. More is about the weight of it. It can be used as a self-defense item. That's why it cannot go in the carry-on bag.
Now, when items are stopped at the checkpoint, passengers have a choice to move them to a checked bag or simply abandon them. Whatever is left behind goes to the state to be auctioned. The Salvation Army making sure every child has something under the tree this year, all part of the Angel Tree toy distribution running today and tomorrow. The Salvation Army says the donations they received this year are far more than just toys.
And we're able to, with our Angel Tree program, assist those families who have found themselves in a tough spot for a season, maybe, hopefully for only one season, because any one of us could end up in a position like that, tomorrow. There are a lot of uncertainties right now, And so it's just it's a joy, a blessing for us to be able to come alongside our community members.
The Angel Tree toy distribution is specific to the children who are in Salvation Army housing programs and family shelters. Next at 10, a vote to extend health care subsidies is forced in the House of Representatives and attempting to identify a person of interest, the latest in this ongoing investigation after the mass shooting at Brown University. And Alex is back. The latest on our alert day conditions heading our way.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Investigators released more photos today as they try to identify the gunman in this past weekend's shooting at Brown University. The mass shooting left 2 students dead, 9 others injured. Investigators are asking for help identifying a person of interest they say may have been casing the area near the campus just hours before the attack.
We have video footage of that determines to us and the detectives that can tell that this person was in the vicinity where the subject of interest was that we wanted that we actually have an interest on. Close enough that we feel that we need to speak with them.
Brown has 1,200 cameras across its grounds there, but authorities say because the building where this happened is on the edge of campus, almost none of the cameras were in position to capture the shooter. Nick Reiner appeared before a judge today after being charged with killing his parents. Acclaimed director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. Reiner is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances and a special allegation for allegedly using a knife. If convicted, Nick Reiner faces a maximum sentence of life in prison without parole or the death penalty. A few Republican members of the House broke ranks to force a vote on extending Affordable Care Act subsidies. Republican Congressman Mike Lawler from New York and Pennsylvania lawmakers Brian Fitzpatrick, Ryan McKenzie, and Rob Bresnahan signed onto the Democratic-led petition, and it comes ahead of what could be tough midterm re-election campaigns with health care costs among the key issues for voters and control of Congress hanging in the balance.
You know what's funny? 3/4 of people on Obamacare are in states Donald Trump won. So maybe, just maybe, everybody should look at this and say, how do we actually fix the healthcare system?
Now, if the vote to extend healthcare subsidies passes the House, its prospects in the Senate are unclear. A similar measure failed there last week. Alert day conditions are expected for tomorrow. Alex, what impacts are we talking about for the evening commute?
A whole bunch of them. Snow squalls tomorrow. Afternoon, evening. I'll explain what snow squalls are in just a bit. Strong winds and then plummeting temperatures, a flash freeze, bitter cold temperatures Thursday evening through Friday morning. This will impact the Thursday evening commute. Even if we have a little bit of brief heavy snow, those wet surfaces, they are going to freeze tomorrow evening after some morning rain and the plummeting temperatures. So slick spots are expected during the Thursday evening commute going into Thursday overnight. That's what we're up against. Here's the rain. Rain to start off Thursday morning, maybe even a thunderstorm or 2. The cold front slices through southern Wisconsin, the Dells to Madison to Monroe right around noon. And then on the backside of this front, take note out towards the Dells, towards Richland Center. Take note of these small areas of very concentrated dark blue. This is our weather model picking up on the potential for snow squalls, which are brief periods of very intense heavy snow getting to the Madison area, Dells, Lone Rock, Bosqueville, Prairie du Chien, Mineral Point, 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's right at the start of the rush hour. Sweeping through Madison, Juneau to Watertown, down to Janesville as we head towards 6 o'clock at the tail end of the evening commute. So this brief period of heavy snow could reduce visibilities considerably, cause some accumulation on area roadways, and anything that's not treated is going to ice up. Even if those snow squalls don't materialize, we are going to see strong winds bringing in significantly colder temperatures, and the cold temperatures alone will cause slick spots as things ice on up. Starting in the 40s tomorrow, 40s to start things off, 43 potentially for high in Madison. We'll watch the rug get pulled right out from underneath us. 5 o'clock, the start of the rush hour. Freezing, below freezing to the west of Madison, above freezing from Madison and areas to the east. But by the end of the commute, our temperatures are down well into the 20s, so we are seeing freezing conditions. We'll see roads, overpasses, bridges, sidewalks freeze on over as these temperatures plummet, and they keep going down from there into the single digits above zero to start off Friday morning. You combine the strong winds, 30 to 35 miles per hour Thursday night going into Friday morning, and we're going to have wind chills as cold as the minus teens to near minus 20 to start off Friday morning. This is right on the cusp of dangerously cold air as we head into Friday again. Let's look at this timeline here. I just threw a lot of information at you. Before 3 p.m., the rain showers are going to end. From 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock, we have that potential for snow squalls. The snow ends between 7 p.m. and midnight. For those wet surfaces, they freeze on up, and then the wind chills to minus 15, maybe even approaching minus 20 on Friday morning. So it's from 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon all the way up till about 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock Friday morning that we're expecting the greatest impacts of this significant change in the weather. But what is a snow squall? It's not a new phenomenon, but it's one that we're talking more about because it can cause very significant travel problems because the onset is very sudden. You go from nothing to visibilities with intense bursts of snow and wind that go down to near zero in some cases. You get a little bit of that snow on the area roadways, even those roadways that are still warm because it's coming down heavy enough that you get rapidly deteriorating road conditions, and that makes roads susceptible for the potential for crashes and pileups. So we want you to take these very, very seriously, and they don't last very long either. Again, you can go from nothing, no snow at all, to low visibility and slick conditions. So take it easy tomorrow afternoon during the evening commute. Even if we don't get that heavy snow to materialize locally, Eric, we're going to see freezing conditions very quickly tomorrow night. Roads are going to ice up, especially those roads that don't get treated. Hopefully we'll get things all treated, but we're going to get that salt off the road with the rain tomorrow, so things will freeze up tomorrow night.
Be careful on that evening commute, and we'll keep you updated throughout the day tomorrow. Sure. Alex, thank you. Well, the Packers are preparing to take on the Chicago Bears for the second time in just 2 weeks, but they'll be doing it, of course, without defensive star Micah Parsons. News 3 Now senior Packers writer Jason Wilde has more on how the defense is holding up.
Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley and his guys on that side of the ball are focused on the Chicago Bears and their big showdown in Chicago at Soldier Field on Saturday night. It'll be the second time in 13 days that the Packers and Bears have faced each other, and Jeff Hafley knows his guys have to replicate their performance from the win here at Lambeau Field previously. The challenge, of course, will be to do it without Micah Parsons. And while the focus is on Saturday night, Jeff Hafley thinking, too, about Micah Parsons, his disappointment about losing his star edge rusher, and what his star edge rusher may do next season.
I just have so much respect for the guy, and I'm sad for the guy, but at the same time, I know that just knowing who he is, just wait until you guys see how hard he works to come back, how fast he probably comes back. And somehow I probably, if I were a betting man, would bet that he comes back even better and probably breaks the sack record next year. So I'm going to put that on Micah and myself, and you guys can put it out there. And that's the confidence I have in him.
We'll have to wait until the fall to see if Jeff Hafley's prediction comes true on Micah Parsons leading the NFL and breaking the NFL sack record. We'll also have to wait and see if Jeff Hafley is still here as the defensive coordinator or he's gotten a head coaching job elsewhere. Right now, the focus again on Saturday. We'll have full coverage of Packers-Bears leading into Saturday night and of the game itself from Chicago on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for the Packers newsletter, which delivers that coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Jason, thank you as always. This matchup's going to be a late one on Sunday night, 7:20 kickoff down at Soldier Field. And Andrew's here. We got another matchup, some big matchups on the hardwood of the volleyball court to watch as well this weekend.
Absolutely, a really exciting one tomorrow. And still to come in sports, Nash Dara says why Wisconsin volleyball started forging their path to the Final Four months ago. Next on News 3 Now. News 3 Now's Nash Dara has had quite the day. He hit the road for Kansas City at 8 o'clock this morning and joins us now, getting you ready for Wisconsin volleyball's Final Four face-off.
The trip that began this morning for me has finally reached its end. I am here outside the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, where in less than 24 hours, the Wisconsin Badgers women's volleyball team will be taking on Kentucky in the semifinals of the NCAA tournament. Bucky, hoping to return to the national championship for the first time since 2021, would either take on the winner of Texas A&M or Pitt. But they aren't looking that far ahead just yet, as they have a must-win match tomorrow against the Wildcats.
Coming into this tournament, we talked about the second that you think that something is owed to you is the second you lose, the second your season is over. And I think that the other side of that is also that nothing's owed to anyone, which means anytime you step out there, it's anyone's game. So it does have to be an active refusal or an active search for a win, for a championship.
I will be here throughout the entire day giving updates on the pregame festivities and everything leading up to the game at 8 p.m. But until then, outside the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Nash Dara, News 3 Sports.
Some athletes, they don't want to come back and play in their home state as a pro. They just want to do their own thing. I guess more power to them. But with J.J. Watt, that never made any sense to me. We're talking about the same guy that gave up a scholarship and delivered pizza to play his way on to Wisconsin and walk on at his home school. So when he chose in free agency to go play for the Arizona Cardinals to close his NFL career, I just figured, I guess you can't blame a Wisconsinite for retiring in Arizona. But as it turns out, Watt wanted the Packers. The Packers just didn't want him.
I wanted to play for the Packers in free agency. I wanted to go to Green Bay.
And what
They
happened?
were not interested. It's where I wanted to go. I told my agents, I don't care what the number is. I don't care how low it is. The ideal situation for me would be to go play for the Green Bay Packers. That's where, I grew up. I watched Reggie White. That would be incredible. I said, I'll take a significant hometown discount to play there. And I was not given a number to consider.
A big-time Wisconsin huddle coming up on Friday, as always, at 6:30. Wisconsin women's basketball joins the show for the first time. Alex returns to the show when we come back to News 3 Now.
New tonight. Okay. Kind of a mixed signal to announce an emergency national address because everything's going great. The Late Show's all new. CBS Tonight.
Finally, tonight, a study zeroing in on a strange sight caught on a trail camera. This footage captured by the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department shows moths drinking the tears of a North American bull moose. I don't know, you could tell in that video, but this became the basis for a University of Vermont study. They don't have a lot going on out there. It focused on a known phenomenon where insects feed on other animals' tears for vital minerals and nutrients. The study said the images of the Vermont encounter may be the very first known documentation of moths drinking moose tears. Apparently, I don't know. They got Ben and Jerry's out in Vermont. I don't know what else they got out there. Alex with the final check of the forecast.
All right, serious mode, Alex here. Yeah, alert day conditions. We are looking at the potential for snow squalls. These are brief periods of reduced visibilities for heavy snow tomorrow. Savannah's going to have the very latest using Future Track to show you where those snow squalls may line up tomorrow afternoon.
All right, something to keep an eye on. Alex, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Colbert's next. You can always catch us streaming 24/7 at Channel 3000+.